This video demonstrates the 737 MAX CFM LEAP 1B power plant removal procedure with bootstrap equipment. This video has 3 parts. Part 1, prepare for the removal. Part 2, install the bootstrap equipment. And Part 3, remove the engine. This video is for training purposes only. Refer to Chapter 71 of the Boeing Aircraft Maintenance Manual, or AMM, for full engine change procedures. Part 1. Prepare for the removal. If you will replace the engine with a different engine, it is recommended that you print or record all active and inactive engine faults from the multifunction display, or MFD, as well as the existing flight vibration history and the fan and low pressure turbine, or LPT, weight configurations from the engine health management system. Do the engine preservation procedure if necessary. Do the static grounding task to ground the airplane. Use the approved ground lugs. Make sure that the airplane's center of gravity is in the forward section, or install a tail jack. Make sure that there is enough clearance to position the engine transportation stand below the engine. Inflate the main landing gear struts until they show a minimum of 12 inches or 30 centimeters of chrome. And set the engine stand to its lowest position. When the engine stand lock pins are disengaged, the vibration isolators on the stand are disengaged. To prepare the flight deck, make sure the forward thrust levers are in the idle position, the applicable start lever is in the cutoff position, the spar valve closed and engine valve closed lights are on dimly, the start switch is in the off or auto position, then install Do Not Operate tags. Open, lock, and tag out the circuit breakers identified in the AMM. Before you open and remove the fan cowls, deactivate the leading edge flaps and slats. Follow the AMM to remove the fan cowl. Boeing recommends that you use a crane and a sling to remove a fan cowl. You can remove an engine with the inlet cowl or without the inlet cowl installed. With the inlet cowl installed, the engine can only move forward. Install a lock pin in the manual isolation valve handle of the thrust reverser control valve module to deactivate the thrust reverser. Open the thrust reverser halves remove the thrust reverser insulation blankets to access the hold open equipment attach points. There are 3 compression rods to remove. Remove the number 1 compression rod and its support bracket. Keep the number 2 and number 3 compression rods in their positions at this time. Install the hold open equipment. Set the drive screws in the left and right fitting assemblies to their lowest positions before installing them. Install and attach the inboard and outboard arm assemblies with the upper and lower arm pins and linch pins. Adjust the drive screws until the 2 pivot pin holes align and install the pivot pin. Adjust the drive screws to hold the weight of the thrust reversers. Disconnect the thrust reverser opening actuator from the fan case bracket and attach it to the thrust reverser torque box, and remove the end brackets from the fan frame. Now remove the number 2 and number 3 compression rods. Remove the thumbnail fairing. It has 37 fasteners. More effort can be necessary to remove some of the fasteners. Remove AC electrical power. Remove all supply pressure from the pneumatic system. Remove the core compartment drain mast to prevent damage to it. Remove the left and right engine buildup, or EBU brackets, from the fan case. Drain the main fuel pump. Remove the 3 drain plugs one at a time to let the fuel drain. Install the drain plugs when all fuel is drained. Drain the fuel from the fuel metering unit, or FMU. Disconnect the electrical connectors from the right side of the fan cowl support beam. Locate the crossover duct. Remove the V-clamp and the E-seal from the crossover duct to disconnect it from the pre-cooler inlet. And disconnect the fan air modulating valve line. This is below the pre-cooler on the right side. Disconnect the strut drain lines from the left and right sides of the strut fitting. Disconnect the starter supply duct. Disconnect the hydraulic pressure, supply, and case drain hydraulic hoses from the left side of the fan cowl support beam. You may need to loosen the clamp block to disconnect the pressure hose. Then secure the clamp block. Disconnect the integrated drive generator, or IDG, power feeder harness from the left side of the fan cowl support beam. Disconnect the fuel supply hose from the left side of the fan cowl support beam. Always install the necessary caps, plugs, and covers after you disconnect parts from the engine. Part 2. Install the bootstrap equipment. Do not use 737NG engine change equipment for the 737 MAX. The engine change equipment for the 737NG is not compatible with the 737 MAX. The equipment required for the engine change is specified in the AMM. Install the forward center beam to the forward mount brackets with 2 pins. Install the forward support arm assembly. Attach the forward end of the assembly to the forward center beam with a pin. Attach the aft end to the strut fan cowl support beam with a pin. Install the forward outboard and inboard arm assemblies on the forward center beam. Make sure all pins and linch pins are secure. Install a dynamometer assembly on the end of each arm assembly. Install a lever hoist on each dynamometer. Attach each lever hoist to the fan frame with a shackle and take up the slack. Next, you will install the aft bootstrap equipment. Remove the number 3 compression rod support bracket before you install the aft bootstrap equipment. Install the outboard aft support beam assembly on the outboard forward strut bracket with a pin. Install the outboard aft cross beam assembly. Use the number 3 compression rod mounting brackets and 2 pins to attach the assembly to the strut. Install the aft torque beam assembly to the outboard aft cross beam with 1 pin, and to the outboard aft support beam with 2 pins. Install the aft end of the torque beam on the top of the aft support beam. Install the aft outboard arm assembly to the aft torque beam assembly with 2 pins. Attach a lever hoist to the aft outboard arm assembly. Install the dynamometer assembly to the turbine rear frame case with 2 pins and attach it to the lever hoist. Take up the slack in the hoist chain. Attach each engine stand forward adapter to the fan frame and tighten the bolts to the torque that is specified within the AMM. Then attach the aft engine adapter mounts. Move the engine stand below the engine, setting the engine stand arms directly below the adapters. Part 3. Remove the engine. Operate the forward and aft lever hoists equally until the dynamometers show the maximum load limits specified in the AMM. Be careful. The AMM has 2 sets of maximum load limits: the limits for an engine removal with an engine cowl installed and the limits for an engine removal without an engine cowl installed. Operation of one lever hoist can change the loads on the other 2 hoists. You must continuously monitor all 3 dynamometers when you operate the lever hoists. Now you will disconnect the engine mount bolts from the engine strut. Use the correct tools to loosen each forward and aft engine mount bolt a half turn. Note that the aft engine mount bolts are not easy to loosen because of their positions. Examine the engine to make sure that no clearance or space is between the engine mount and the engine strut mount for both the forward and aft engine mounts. Then loosen each forward and aft engine mount bolt one more half turn. Again, make sure that you have no clearance between the strut mount and the engine mount for the forward and aft engine mounts. Then, remove each engine mount bolt and barrel nut and retainer. Lower the forward lever hoists and the aft lever hoist equally to lower the engine without interfering with the shear pins, the pre-cooler, or other components. When all mounts and components are clear of interference, and the adapters are 4 to 6 inches from the engine stand, use the hoists to roll the engine to align the adapters to the engine cradle. If it is necessary, adjust the position of the cradle to attach the forward and aft engine stand adapters into the forward engine stand support arms and the aft engine stand support columns. Finally, attach the engine to the cradle with the adapters. Once the engine and engine stand are clear of any interference, set the engine cradle to the raised position and re-engage the engine stand vibration isolators. Note that moving the engine stand with the vibration isolators disengaged can damage the engine bearings. This completes our demonstration of the 737 MAX CFM LEAP 1B power plant removal procedure. Always follow current documentation.